Welcome to Elite Expert Insider Podcast, where we will inspire, motivate, and educate entrepreneurs, innovators, and growth seekers. Brought to you by Elite Online Publishing, making the best and brightest in the industry #1 best-selling authors. 80% of people say they want to write a book. We're assuming that's the same for you. If so, contact us at www.eliteonlinepublishing.com and make your book a reality. Hey, this is Melanie Johnson along with Jen Foster. Jen, how you doing today?
Doing great. It's a wonderful day today.
It is. We have a terrific show for you today here at Elite Expert Insider. You know, we always try and bring you the coolest, latest stuff and things to inspire, motivate, and educate you. And we are going to talk about, everybody does this, right? Money. You need it, you want more of it, you want to keep it, you want to bring it towards you. So we're going to have that discussion today. But first, before we tell you anything, we want to say, please subscribe to our podcast, because when you do that, you're going to get notifications telling you of all the cool people we have coming up. And I know you don't want to miss an interview, so make sure you subscribe. And we'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment, share it to other people so they can be inspired, motivated, and educated as well. Now, we own Elite Online Publishing, and we are all about leaving a legacy, telling your story, and we think that every business and every person has a story to tell. And here at Elite, we have everything you need to tell it, and we make it easy for you. Plus, we have over 1,500 titles on Amazon of great little journals and things to start your story. This one's one of my favorites. It's called Write It Down Journal. It's black with a white lettering on it. It says, write it down. Tony Robbins says, write it down. Jim Rohn says, write it down. Grant Cardone, if you follow him, says, write it down. So write it down, write your goals down, your dreams down, your story down. And I just love this little black and white journal. You can find it on Amazon by Elite Online Publishing. Pick up one of those and you'll have it in your mailbox, like in 24 hours. They'll send it to you. So we're going to get started right away with Elisa. Elisa has written a book, and it is a really great book. It hit #1 on Amazon. It's called The Prosperity Approach. And we're going to talk some about that today and how to get your money, keep your money, get yourself out of debt, and just attract that prosperity to you.
Right. Welcome, Allyson Chavez.
Thank you.
And tell us a little bit about your background, a little bit about where you came from and how you got into this field of prosperity.
Oh yeah, awesome. Holy cow. So I'm an online mentor. I have an online mentoring business. I started about 5.5 years ago. And when I first started my business, as you all know, and all of us entrepreneurs know, we work really hard, right, to get our business going and off the ground. And after about 2.5 years, I hit multiple six figures. And it was really fun. Like on the outside, it looked like we had it all, right? We were buying new cars. We were vacationing in exotic places. I'm married. I have 4 children. So we were taking them to Hawaii. We were taking them to Disney World. We were just taking them all these really fun places. And that was a level of living that I had never actually experienced before. So on the outside, it looked like everything was great. But what was really interesting was that every morning at about 3 a.m., I was waking up with my guts twisted in anxiety because I was so scared that we would lose everything that we had. So, anxiety is pretty familiar to all of us. I think we live in this society that's just riddled with anxiety. I had anxiety before we made all the money because I didn't know how we were going to pay the bills. And then we made all this money. And then I still had anxiety because I was afraid we were going to lose it. And because of universal laws and the way our mind works, our thoughts are what create our reality, the laws work perfectly every single time of my business dismantled after about 2.5 years. And it was a brutal process. It was so intense and such a challenge, but it was the greatest gift ever because the Prosperity Approach book came out of that experience. I remember sitting thinking, all right, I've had like the life, right? And I still felt insecure. I still felt unconfident. I still just showered myself in doubt all day, every day. That to me was not prosperity. And I thought, what is prosperity? And it just came to me very clearly that prosperity is a level of living that's not driven by fear or doubt or by lack. And I thought, okay, so if I'm going to live a life that is ultimate prosperity, then what does that get to look like? And ended up just learning all about the place I operate from, how powerful I am in my mind, changing stories, and that just lit my world on fire. So we've been in this rebuild now for about 18 months with my business, which has just been so fantastic, such a great experience. But wow, we had to, build it up, and then it had to crash and then we get to rebuild. I don't know if you've experienced that before, but holy cow, it's intense, but absolutely incredible. And I am just on fire to just instill people with that belief that they can change their stories and how powerful they are to absolutely create the results that matter in their business, in their relationships, and in their life. It's totally my passion.
I so believe that. I mean, it's what you tell each other. I used to tell people, I mean, I lived in a 25,000 square foot house, was worth $20 million. And then, life took a shift and it changed. And like you say, prosperity is not just in what you have in the numbers. It's really in prosperity and spiritualness, prosperity and love, prosperity in your family, prosperity in your behavior. There's so many other buckets that prosperity can fill up in.
Yes.
Shifting that mindset. What do you see are some of the obstacles that you run across people having that they're seeing, and how do you overcome them?
Oh, the stories people run all day long in their minds. And it's really interesting because people, at least in my industry, with personal development and with prosperity and with growth, I mean, and let's just be clear, prosperity and money are linked. Like, money is definitely a part of prosperity. It's an important part of prosperity, but it's not all prosperity. And in my industry, people just go crazy about limiting beliefs, right? What's your belief system? We need to get to the root. We need to drill down. And it can feel so overwhelming and so scary. And it actually ends up being a huge distraction. And when I realized, oh my gosh, all these are our stories. We're just running stories all day long. And they're not big, long stories. They're stories that are like one sentence that says, I'm not enough, or things are going to fall apart, or I can't do this, or I don't know how. And we run that story all day long. And our thoughts literally create our reality. And so everything around us reflects that thought that I'm not enough. We try something, we fail, we try harder, we fail harder, right? Because we're running that story. But when we can understand, and awareness is key, awareness and then action, new action off that awareness, that holy cow, I'm running a story. What's the story? Well, what are you thinking about and what are you talking about all the time? Be really aware of what your language is. This is so hard, the thing that's so difficult. Like, it's just, we say it all the time, and so we get immune to it. But make no mistake, that's what we're running, and that's what's showing up in our life. So we can be aware of that and then just say, oh, hang on, this is a story. Is this helping me get one step closer to what I want, or is it keeping me here, or is it actually pulling me backward? What's going on right now in this moment with this story? What's a different story I want to run? And then just choose the opposite of the story that's running. Everything always works out for me. I'm totally enough. Everything's like, just change the story. Just do the opposite, and then start running that one, which means your thoughts change, your behaviors change. It's really just about being aware of those stories and then just flipping them right on their head. And then boom, it's called inner stance, the place that you operate from. And it literally changes your world. It changes your money. It changes your relationships. It changes your body. It changes everything.
I love that. And Allyson, you're hitting it, right on the head as far as, when those thoughts come into your mind, you have to, was it Jim Rohn who says, that's interesting. You stop and you have to say, what did I just say? Okay, that's interesting. I thought that way. Okay, goodbye. Now let's change that and flip it, do the opposite and say, I am enough. I can do it. You got to flip that around and make it work for you.
Yeah.
So when you had this aha moment, then tell us about, that shift and how things started to change and evolve.
Oh, Call, that's such an amazing question, because it wasn't like suddenly I pivoted just in one deep moment. There was a time, though, really it was about my level of commitment, quite honestly. And I don't know if you've experienced this, but generally when you're building up a company, what's so hard about it is dealing with all of the stories that you run, all of the insecurities and all of those limiting beliefs those demons that we have to face. And so I would have one foot in and one foot out. Like, this is so scary. Maybe I should just go get a job, or I'll do this for the next 6 months and then I'll quit. Yeah. So I wasn't fully committed. And I remember one night, like, I was laid out. I was in my office chair. It was about 2:00 in the morning, and I was just sobbing sobbing, sobbing. And I was trying to cry really quietly because I didn't want to wake my family. But have you ever had those sobs that just shake your body, like the really ugly, like really, really wet sobs? I was doing that, but trying to be silent. And all of those stories were screaming at me that I was worthless, that I needed to like tap out. That was the language. Tap out, Allyson. Tap out of business, tap out of life, tap out of everything. And it was kind of a scary moment because I mean, I'm not suicidal, and to have those thoughts that were so loud in my mind. And I realized I had a very powerful choice to make in that moment. I could choose to tap out, or was I going to be committed no matter what? Even if everything stayed in the crapper, was I going to stay committed? And in that moment, I said, yeah, whatever that looks like, I am committed to not only figuring out prosperity and the inner workings behind it, but then living in it. Even if we lose everything, even if we're on the street, and we weren't even close to that, but that's where my mind took me, and that's where I was required to go. And at that moment, that's when things really shifted. So I don't think that it has to be that dramatic for everybody. It was for me, but I think that just having that level of awareness and then staying really committed, like, am I committed to doing what's required to make my business a success, or to release weight if that's what I'm focusing on, or to have a relationship with my soulmate? Like, am I committed to doing what's required? And that is a subtle shift, but it is absolutely profound in its ability to change everything. I love to tell people you're only one choice away from a completely different life. And what choice are you making? You literally.
That's true. Commitment is so huge. So we talked about mindset. Like, you got to have that mindset, right? Change your story, change your beliefs.
Yep.
Next step is really having the commitment. And I can tell you, I mean, it's hard. Like, even when you're trying to lose weight, you're like, well, I know I'm supposed to eat healthy or eat less and work out every day. And how many times we wake up like, I'm too tired, I can't do it. And then we wonder why we're not getting to our goals because, well, geez, 4 of those days I talked myself out of doing what I was committed to do and doing something else that maybe I shouldn't have done that took me away. You know, that answer, is this taking me towards my goal, or is this taking me away from my goal for each choice and walking through that? What's the next step? So you get your mindset right, you get those limiting beliefs, you're committed to do it. What's the next step after that you need to take?
Well, the next step is really figuring out what is required. You know, for a long time, I would go into such victim mode. I'm doing the best I know how. I'm trying so hard. What's wrong with me? Like that language came out of my mouth all the time. And it was such a victim stance that I was taking. Instead of like just sitting down like, all right, what's required? What's the necessary required action for me to take? It's not about doing my best. I'm not 6 years old. Am I doing what's required, right? For a 6-year-old, we want them to do their best, and that's enough. For us, we get to do what's required. We have to do what's required in order to create those results that we're after. And so it's committing, it's knowing what those required actions are, and then it's stopping. Just keep going. Keep going in that. Like, so Melanie, I love that you showed your write it down journal. Like, those are so, so powerful. And I write my story every single day. And I start it with, I write a powerful story every day. That's my first sentence. I create myself powerfully every day. So when I am awake at 5 a.m., I get up at 5 and I do my personal study, and I'm at the gym by 6. And am I a morning person? No, I'm not. It's not easy for me to do. Every single morning when my body is like, pull the covers back on you, pull the covers back on you, I think to myself, how am I going to show up powerfully today? How do I create myself powerfully today? I got to haul my butt out of bed. Okay, do I want to? No, but it's not a matter of what I want. It's what's required. Am I committed to doing what's required? Yes, I am. And my body, like 8.5 pounds gone, ladies, so far. So only 38 more to go, but that's what has been required for that to happen.
That's great.
You know, we love that. We subscribe to that too. When we know that we're getting up earlier, I just know the morning hours are so much more productive than the late evening hours.
Yes.
You know, last night I did have my wisdom teeth out, so I gave myself the pleasure of binge watching a show on Netflix because I couldn't read. I was just kind of blurry eyed. But I think about, okay, so now I had to sleep a little later because I was up, I was just out. But the hours from say 9 to midnight are really generally not that productive because usually I'm unwinding, I'm doing that. But if you go to bed a little earlier and you do hit that 5 a.m., Jen and I were saying when we made that shift to do that, we felt by Tuesday it was almost Friday because we were like, isn't it Friday yet? We've done so much. I can't believe how much we did. I mean, it's just like, wow. And you're more productive, don't you think, Jen?
Oh yeah, your productivity just goes through the roof because you have that hour of prep time. Like, or however much you give yourself, maybe it's only 15 minutes, but that prep before you start your day, whether it's your meditation or your, journaling or writing down your thoughts or writing down your goals, all of those things, it just puts so much more into your day, right?
Oh yeah, it's about starting your day with intention. And what am I going to create today instead of this, what's going to happen to me today kind of approach that most people take to life. It's interesting. I've got 4 kids and 2 of them are teenagers. And so they're dragging their butts out of bed, like, 9 or 10 on a weekend, maybe even later. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys, I've been up for 5 hours already. Like, holy cow, I've already worked half a day. This is amazing. It's only 8 o'clock. It's just, it's fantastic. And most people, what's interesting about that is like, I don't have time to write my goals, or I don't have time to meditate. And I said that for years and years. So I can really have compassion for people that say that. And yet those are the people that can only reach a certain level of success, because one of the necessary required actions to high levels of success is journaling. It's meditating. It's taking that time to create your day intentionally and then moving into that. It just is. And that doesn't mean you're not a good person. And it doesn't mean that you're not successful. But if you're aiming for high levels of success, please make no mistake about that. That is one of the required actions.
I'm so glad you did that, because I love what you said, and I may not have it exact, but it's like, I am going to create my life today. What does my life look like today?
Yeah.
Where is it going to go? What am I, not just like what I'm going to accomplish and my outcomes, but I'm creating a day in my life. And is it going to be that I'm going to do something special with my kids? Am I going to get this? Like, what does it look like today? And I just think that's really, you're creating it every day. So what do you want it to look like? And what do you want the results to be from that? Whose, life do you want to impact?
Yeah, absolutely. And I used to wake up. One of the reasons that I do this now is that I was so tired of waking up in anxiety and in dread for the day. I was like, I don't want to do this day. I don't want to do this day. I'm scared. I don't know if I'm going to be successful. Like that was my inner dialogue that was going on. And I'm happy to share that with people, because maybe somebody else resonates and that's something that they have faced with. And so instead of like, okay, I guess I'll do the day, it's like, it quiets that anxiety. It moves that anxiety so quickly when it's like, what am I going to do today? What am I going to create today? How am I going to be powerful today? And then every day is a success. It's just the perfect way to start the day.
And I love that you wrote a book about it too, because that, I think I tell people, when you actually write the book, whether you publish it or not, but even compiling the journals that you've written or something else that you have, it's cathartic. So even writing your book, and you recently published it, is that it got all that information out of you and gives you a different outlook, even maybe afterwards, and recenters you and refocuses your business and your goals and how you want to design your life. Did you find that for yourself when you went through that process?
Oh, yes. Because so writing my book was a relatively short amount of time. I've talked to people that I'm writing my book and it's taking me years. And I'm like, I did it in 3 months. Like, what the heck? I don't understand that, but okay. No judgment here, but apparently there's some blocks coming up that you're not aware of, but you're immersed in it. Right? You're like, okay, now where am I picking up from this last chapter and what do I want to say? And in fact, we're getting ready to do another edition of the book next week. And so I'm going through and I'm tweaking things, because since I published that back in October, like, things have shifted even more from when I published it. And it was like, there's even more power that I get to share with people. There's even more that I've learned that has really skyrocketed me, that I know can skyrocket other people, because these are universal principles that we're talking about. It's not Allyson's so great and Melanie's so fantastic and Jen's just out of this world and all of these results come to them. You're normal women as well. Well, you're not normal women, you're amazing women, but we all have that within us, right? And so it's just, I'm so excited to share them with people, other things that I've learned.
Yeah. And what's so cool is the book shares it on a huge platform for you as well, that anybody can get it. It doesn't have to be in your little circle. And I love So this is perfect for people who are considering to write a book. Look at, she's going back and she just did this, like 8 months ago, less than 8 months ago, and she's going to update it. And it's not a big deal for her to do that. That's what's so cool. She'll always have the original one, but now she's going to update and have a new version of it. And that's why a book is so cool for a marketing tool. You can always go back in and tweak it and update it, and then tell the whole world as an excuse to say, hey, guess what? I got new content. Get the new copy. So it's a great way to have conversation with your audience and get them engaged and get a new audience.
Absolutely. So powerful. A book is the most powerful marketing tool you can have. Absolutely.
Well, so tell us, where can we find you? Where can they get more information from you?
So you can check me out at AllysonChavez.com, and let me spell it for you because nobody can spell my first name or pronounce my last name. So it's Allyson, and Chavez is spelled just like Chavez, C-H-A-V as in Victor, E-Z as in zebra. AllysonChavez.com, and you can check out my work and those things that I offer to help you really change the place you operate from and really start creating those results and that money that you really want in your life.
Great. Thanks, Allyson. We'll go ahead and put the link up at the bottom.
Awesome.
And make sure that people check that out and can go and check out your book, as well as if you have any other services or anything, they can check that out on your website.
Fantastic. Hey, can I share with you something that I created for people specifically to change their position around money? Is that okay? Fantastic. So I created a 30-day, it's called Money Secrets 30-Day Online Challenge. And it's really about changing your positioning in your mind with how you view money and how money comes to you, with really specific exercises and techniques that you can do in 5 minutes or less. This is actually what I did to completely change my whole experience with money, with how it came to me, how I felt about money. And I originally called it a detox. I was like, oh my gosh, we have such toxic relationships with money. And if you think about it, most people really, really do. But we want to just change your positioning with money so that you can really open yourself up to receive it. And so I included a meditation in there, a 60-minute energy work where we're clearing out energetic and mental blocks towards money. There's tracking sheets in there. There's accountability sheets in there. And like I said, I created it for me. So there was no way I was going to sit down and do money homework for an hour. And so it's things that I could do in the shower, things that I could do while I was driving, different words to say, like changing your language and things. And this was so powerful to me that I would love to share it with your audience. I usually price it at $297. I'm so happy to give it for $37 if people are interested in really changing their experience with money in practical, easy to implement ways. Is that cool?
That's so cool. And it's on your website. I saw it on her website.
Awesome.
So
Yes.
we'll have the website listed here, and you can catch her right there. So thanks for stopping by again. Thank you for sharing all that information. I hope you got inspired today, everyone. I know we're going to have conversations about this again to make sure we have our mindset correct and that we're committed. And I think the other thing to be important is remember to forgive yourself. So, if you fall off and you have a bad day and for some reason you have a root canal and you can't work out that day, forgive yourself. That happens, but you got to go right back and get right back into the commitment and get right back in the bandwagon and get on the train and going full steam ahead. So we want to thank you again make sure you subscribe to our podcast. Thank you again for coming here. Make sure you pick up a Write It Down journal on Amazon by Elite Online Publishing. And if you are looking to write a book, like Allyson says, it is the most powerful marketing tool that you can have. So we would love to publish it for you. Check us out at EliteOnlinePublishing.com. And we will see you next time right here at Elite Expert Insider.
Bye.
If you'd like to create the most powerful advertising tool for your business, contact us at EliteOnlinePublishing.com, where we will help you create, publish, and make your book a #1 bestseller and show you how to get new leads and more revenue for your business. If you'd like to check us out on our Facebook page, we have a free book for you as our gift. Just go and click Free Book. Remember to subscribe and leave a comment for our podcast. We would love to hear from you.